Motor Week is made possible by Lucas Oil, Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, and TireRack.com.
Now I want you to do a little exercise with me. Sit back, close your eyes, and imagine a typical Volvo. If you're like most people, you're probably thinking of a car with very boxy styling and sedate family car performance. Now open your eyes and look at this Volvo. It's the new 850 GLT. One look and you'll agree that this is not your typical Volvo. But it's when you experience the 850 that the differences really hit home. New from the ground up, the front-wheel drive 850 GLT is a different kind of Volvo. Although the boxy shape still says Volvo all over it, its dimensions have been drastically trimmed. The 850 is actually 8 inches shorter than the full-size 960. The familiar lines conceal Volvo's usual heavy roll cage and new side impact protection system. It already meets federal safety standards set for 1997. But while still instantly recognizable, the 850 styling has been nicely updated through the use of subtle aerodynamic add-ons and sporty alloy wheels. Power comes from a brand new 5-cylinder 20-valve motor that pumps out 168 horsepower. Similar in construction to the 960's inline 6, it's mounted transversely and drives the front wheels through a 5-speed manual transaxle or a 4-speed automatic. A low-speed traction control system is available. Our test car's manual shifter had a delightfully light feel, even if the clutch action was rather abrupt. But with 162 pound-feet of torque on tap, the 3,200-pound GLT still ran to 60 miles per hour in a brisk 8.5 seconds. It finished the quarter mile in 17.2 seconds at 84 miles per hour. Nice and quick for a family sedan or even a European sports sedan. The first front-wheel drive Volvo to be sold in North America, the 850 did well through our slalom course too. Struts and springs control the front wheels, while the rear suspension is Volvo's newly patented Delta Link design. Quick turn-in with moderate understeer made this a delightful car to toss around, but body roll and soft tires reminded us that it's still a long-distance touring machine. Four-wheel disc with anti-lock stopped the 850 GLT from 60 miles per hour and an average distance of only 110 feet. A little fade set in after several hard applications, but all stops were straight and sure. ABS pedal pulse was minimal. The EPA rates the 5-speed 850's fuel mileage at 20 miles per gallon city and 30 highway. We got a combined average of 25 miles per gallon. The newest Volvo's cabin offers comfort and straightforward controls. Fancy styling is secondary to a very efficient layout. Both driver and passenger side airbags are standard with belt pretensioners. The driver's seat is electrically controlled and both front buckets are heated. A single lever allows the steering wheel to tilt and telescope, while seat belt height is adjusted automatically. The simple gauges are big and easy to read, but there is no oil pressure gauge or voltmeter. The powerful air conditioning system gets the job done without Freon. Our test vehicle was equipped with optional dual temperature controls. Volvo's standard 8-speaker cassette stereo has an impressive sound. It is also pre-wired for a trunk-mounted CD changer. Rear seat room is more than adequate. The seat itself is a marvel of versatility. Behind the armrest, which doubles as a child seat, there is a pass-through for longer items. The seat also splits and folds to more than double cargo space. Loading and unloading the 14.7 cubic foot trunk is easy thanks to a low liftover and flat bottom. So, how much? Not nearly as much as you might think. For the base, very well-equipped 850 GLT, you'll pay $24,100. Our test vehicle was equipped with the optional touring package, which includes a sunroof and leather trim, bringing the total to $26,500. A bargain price for this much car. And it's that exceptional value that tops our list of hits. The car's fine performance, improved styling, and tons of people in cargo space also fare very, very well with us. Misses include an abrupt clutch and too few gauges. Claiming to be the most dramatically new Volvo since the first Volvo of 1927, the 850 certainly delivers. Its concise appearance, sports sedan performance, and wonderful value will change the way many people look at Volvo. But as different as the 850 GLT is from other Volvos, the firm's reputation for roomy safety is intact. Overall, it's a four-door package that we greatly admire. The Mazda 626 is a car that we at Motor Week are intimately familiar with, having had one in our long-term test fleet 3 years ago. That 626 served us well, consistently scoring high marks for its reliability, comfort, and performance. But stiff competition from sales powerhouses such as the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry threatened to push the 626 out of the family sedan market. So Mazda has reworked its mainstay sedan to meet the latest challenges. And we were anxious to drive the 1993 Mazda 626 to see if it now has what it takes to hold its ground in this tough market segment. Our staff's first impression of the new Mazda 626 was overwhelmingly positive. Where the previous car was handsome, the new 626 is stunning, borrowing much from its larger 929 brother. Aerodynamic sheet metal that blends elements of both classic European and modern Japanese design sits atop a new longer, wider front drive platform. And with over 75% U.S. content, the Michigan-built Mazda is officially classified as a domestic product. Those American workers have done a fine job of assembling the 626 both inside and out. The interior is modern and airy. Many dimensions actually exceed those of competitors like the Ford Taurus, despite the fact that the Mazda is a much smaller car. The dash is also very 90s. It has plenty of swooping curves, but it's more straightforward than the 929. Switches are large and well marked. We tested the top ES grade car, which offers optional leather on its comfortable supportive bucket seats. Its combination of comprehensive power seat controls and the standard tilt airbag-equipped steering wheel allows for an excellent driving position. Serious drivers, however, will want a more complete gauge package, but these analog units are large and easy to read. Heat and ventilation controls are uncluttered, as are the stereo controls. The only interior piece that isn't up to par is this flimsy cup holder. While rear legroom is actually less than its predecessor, overall rear seat room is still quite generous for a car that is less than 185 inches long. Pop the trunk lid and it rises clear. This and a low liftover allow easy loading of the 13.8 cubic foot trunk. The split folding rear seat back takes care of long cargo. Power for the ES is provided by Mazda's latest V6 engine. This 2.5-liter unit offers dual overhead cams, 24 valves, and 164 horsepower, 19 more than the old Turbo 4. DX and LX models get a new 2-liter 4-cylinder. Both engines feed power to the front wheels through a 5-speed manual gearbox, or our test car's slick new 4-speed automatic. The V6's extra horses come in handy since the new 626 is almost 200 pounds heavier. It reaches 60 in 8.3 seconds and covered the quarter mile in 16.4 seconds at 88 miles per hour. That's not as quick as our turbocharged 1988 test car, but that car's drivetrain can't match the new one's refinement. It's all smooth power delivery and effortless shifts, most impressive. The 626 uses the same chassis and suspension as the MX-6 and Ford Probe, so we understand why the new 626 has a more balanced feel than its predecessor. Its handling character is now more like a BMW than a mid-priced Japanese sedan. Lift the throttle in a hard turn and the rear will come around, but not without lots of warning. And then there are its highway manners, which feature a tight but comfortable ride and fine fuel economy. The EPA expects our ES to get 19 city, 25 highway. Expect 23 in everyday driving. Our ES stopped with 4-wheel disc and optional ABS, which brought it down from 60 in an average distance of 120 feet. There was plenty of nosedive, but side-to-side stability was excellent. 626 prices start at $14,255 for the base 4-cylinder DX model. It's then up to $16,440 for the LX, also with a 4-banger. The V6 ES starts at $18,725, with our test car running $21,225. Too bad it's so pricey. Since the Mazda 626 ES has a lot going for it. There's the elegant styling, efficient interior, refined performance, and healthy list of standard features. Misses are 3. There's the sparse gauge package and flimsy cup holder, and how much it goes for. Still, the 1993 Mazda 626 is superior to its predecessor in every meaningful way. In a family sedan world full of Camrys, Tauruses, and Accords, it's a delightful and welcome change. Our car of the week is a 1912 Baker Electric. It belongs to really the era of the supercar. And the top supercar of the last year has definitely been the Dodge Viper. Now that ultimate retro roadster has been called a modern Shelby Cobra for its blend of minimalist construction and monster horsepower. But as Craig Singhaus recently found out, the tradition that spawned the Viper goes further back than the creations of Carroll Shelby. It goes back to a man named Curtis, and one of the first cars to really bring the racetrack to the street.
One of the best things about any vintage car race, like the Lime Rock Park Fall Festival, is seeing some of the important but less well-known sports cars. Cars such as race driver Kim Eastman's Curtis 500S. I first met Kim at the Mount Washington Hill Climb, where he invited us to take a closer look at his car.
Craig, this is my 1953 Curtis 500S sports car, or sports racer. And it was built by Frank Curtis.
Now, Frank Curtis of IndyCar fame, right?
And also midgets.
Midgets, right.
He built midgets. He was real famous for those. So this car is more or less based on the dirt track design that he came up with. In fact, it's based on the Indy car that was very successful in the early 50s. Craig, the motor I have in it now is a 57 Corvette motor with dual 4 barrels. But when Frank first built them, the customer could order the car with any motor he wanted. This one originally came with a DeSoto Hemi in 1953. And hopefully this winter, if we get the right motor, we're going to bring it back to its original 1953 specifications. As you can see, Craig, the seating position is quite upright, very similar to the dirt track cars and Indy cars of the era. The car is street legal. It was intended to be driven on the road as well as raced. In fact, that was a requirement when the car was built. You can see it even has a trunk, and we've updated it a little bit with a modern fuel cell, but basically it's just like it was originally.
Kim enjoys driving the Curtis 500S on the street, where, interestingly enough, it suffers a bit from mistaken identity.
They think it's an Allard. The next thing is they don't know what it is, or they'll ask you if it's a kit or whatever. But you get a lot of looks when you're driving it. Drive on the track, it handles very good compared to its contemporaries, like the Allards and the XK120 Jaguars. It's probably a better smooth track car than a rough track car. And it has that dirt track type handling where it's easy to kick the rear end out, but controllable. It teaches you a lot about car control. When you have to hold it in a corner, if you're really trying to hold it in tight, it takes quite a lot of arm effort. The biggest effort is braking, because it has drum brakes, and they take a lot of leg. So you really got to lean on them hard because they're not that good. I think all race cars of that era, brakes were their weak point. And I couldn't give you acceleration times or anything, but I think you could basically light the tires anytime you wanted to. The Curtis is a low production car, I think 1 of 12 made. I'm not sure how many survive. And it's just a ball to drive on the road. It's the gas to race it.